Greetings, world of the LinkedIners, probably agency people if you've made it this far. Peter Kang and Max Trailer coming at you live. Not live, you're watching it recorded. I digress. Peter, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Max.
Absolutely. Favorite book? You're a reader, I can see.
Yeah, I got a lot of favorite books, but yeah, the one that always comes to mind is the Fifth Discipline by Peter Senge. I love that book.
The
Systems
fifth
thinking.
discipline. Yeah, give me
Yeah,
the
old school.
10-second recap.
I mean, it's what it says like systems thinking, but it's all about kind of how if you know whether it's problem solving or any kind of situation you might be in a company or government ecosystem, like just understanding that these different factors kind of play into creating the situations you're in, and in order to solve problems, you can't just try to push really hard on the thing right in front of you, but you have to take a step back and understand how all these pieces interact with each other, and the second, third degree order of impact that your decisions might carry on and have impact on these things. And so that's like undergirds like systems thinking in general. So it's it's a dense book, but once you kind of get into it, there's a lot of awesome things there, and it's where there's you would like this actually, a big case study in it is the beer game, about like the three-tier kind of distribution system and how the decisions made at the retailer level can impact
Why are you
people really.
singling me out? What would tell you that I like beer?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
So
well, hey, welcome to Beers with Max, by the way.
there
And
you go.
so, I mean, you're no stranger to systems thinking and understanding how things interconnect. Do you want to talk about agency life today? You got something? You got something else on your mind?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm always down to talk about agency life. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever,
Well,
whatever.
give me the quick history. How'd you get into agency life? Now you're running a holding company today. Is that right? You got a few agencies under your belt. So I love to talk to people that can look at the agency from that, not a level of disconnection, but a real business mind and a business eye towards these assets that you're growing. So I just love that perspective rather than when you're in it, it's like it's either your baby or it's your hand grenade that you've just pulled
Yeah,
the pin on.
um, yeah. So just yeah, no, totally. And yeah, so just to give you a quick background, I met my co-founder when we were undergrads at Columbia University, and the two of us, you know, like to get together to like make websites, and found that we had very complementary skill sets, as well as personalities. So we got along really well. But as like graduated first, worked in finance a little bit, but I always knew that I wanted to work with my co-founder Wook and start a business together. So the business we started was essentially an agency business. We were glorified freelancers early on, making websites and doing designs for whoever would pay us. But yeah, we ran that agency, and stuck with it through thick and thin. Just survived near death on the company side many times, but made it through and assembled a team, a good roster of clients, and then kind of built it up to a certain size where at a certain point we had some more options. And one of those things that transpired was about 15 years in, we were very much focused on doing websites on Shopify. And so we decided to spin out, a roster of clients that kind of no longer fit that mold. A lot of WordPress clients, as well as some other support and maintenance clients. And that formed our first agency outside of Barrel, Vaulted Oak. And so, overnight we went from having one to two agencies. And we didn't. But then the genius of Vaulted Oak was, we partnered with one of our employees who would run that full time, and so we were, in many ways passive. We weren't day to day in that business, but more like on the board and kind of supporting and through sending leads and supporting and finance ops, things like that. But basically, didn't have to interact with any of the clients on the Vaulted Oak side, and that gave us, uh, you know, some like a new perspective on, hey, like we can be shareholders or owners of an agency business without having to do the day-to-day work. What does that mean, and how can we leverage our decade and a half experience to do more of that? And so we decided to launch another agency in the Webflow space, and that was the birth of BX Studio. For that one, we recruited a CEO from day one, seeded it with some business that was coming through, some deal flow we had on the barrel side, and it was off to the races. And that's been growing nicely for the last 3 years. So yeah, like another data point, and we were like, hey, this is what we should probably be doing. It's pretty interesting. But then we first had to get out of barrel first. The agency that we've been working on for quite a while. And so we, put a succession plan in motion. And earlier this year in 2024, finally executed that. Lucas, Lucas Balassi, who was been with the company for 11 years. He took over as CEO, and then Seywook and my co-founder and myself were able to then focus full time on the holding company. So that's where we are today. We have 6 agencies total, and we're doing
Six?
a lot of things. Yeah. So we launched a few more after that. There's a branding agency, there's a Amazon agency, and then we acquired a product design agency. So we're in the process of trying to grow these agencies, of course. Make them more robust, install systems, and then we're trying to launch and acquire more agencies as well.
Okay, okay. So now I'm fascinated in this conversation. Not that I wasn't fascinated before. I was excited to fascinated. Now that you have to make contributions to 6 agencies, what do you think is? I'll ask you 2 questions. Your greatest contribution.
Yep.
You're going to think in a special way, or like if the agency could get one thing from an advisor role like yourself, what do you think is the most powerful, like high level, different perspective thing that someone in your position can contribute to an agency?
Yeah. I think, first and foremost is like anything I can do to help, our agency leaders make better decisions, and they're, especially with like how they should invest their time and the agency's resources. So,
So
a lot of things.
like a decision cadence, like something akin to like EOS, or having like a formalized process to say here's how we make decisions rather than just winging it all the time.
Yeah, it's more like, yeah, I mean, depends on the agency because each one of these agencies are at different maturity levels. So it's so the way we've kind of normalized it across is we have weekly check-ins, right? So I have weekly check-ins with our agency leaders, and the contribution I can make is just kind of listening to the things that they're working through, and then there's always like something that bubbles up that's like most pressing for them. They're kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, this is I'm at a crossroads. Like this is what I'm thinking of doing with this particular decision. And it could be around, let's say, maybe it's a bit on positioning, maybe it's around some kind of partnership, maybe it's around some kind of
Yeah.
personnel decision, maybe it's the way they want to, streamline operations in a certain way. So it's all those things. And I think, and this is, I hope it has been true, I think, where, you know, the 18 or so years of being an agency operator, and having been able to see and having actually made a lot of these decisions myself and having been able to see like whether they worked out or not, I can use that bank of knowledge to then help these agency leaders kind of be reflective on like, okay, I see that's a data point that I could use to make a better decision because I like so many things. I'm like, okay, I like I want to build my own I want to invest a ton of agency resources to build this product because I think it'll be cool. And it's kind of like, okay,
Like an
like let's
online course.
well, anything
Oh,
online
you've been
course.
through that one a few times, huh?
It's more like plugins or like apps in our case, but it's kind of
Sure.
like yeah they'll and it's like okay like and we could talk it through because I have many examples of having gone through that and there's been pros and cons to it, so I could kind of lay that out and then now they can be like all right, like I didn't think about for example the upkeep or the maintenance of such an initiative in
Yeah.
the long run. So maybe we're just not ready for that, and or maybe it's just the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
I remember we got into integrations early in my agency partnership. My 2 business partners. I was 22, running an agency. I had no business doing that, but I had 2 adults that were my partners, and they were out of Silicon Valley, so we were building a lot of early middleware HubSpot integrations, and boy, did we figure out quickly just how much HubSpot changes their API.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, we've got three clients on this integration and it's costing us four times as much just for the upkeep. But that's what people don't see when you got this. Oh, this little app on the app store and it does this thing. It's like I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm letting somebody else build that app and maintain it and I'll use it and charge clients for the results.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, we've had situations where, and I think one of the things we learned also is like, look, if you really think it through, you could build something, make a marketing splash, get some eyeballs on it, and show that you're, as an agency, innovative and whatever. But, immediately turn around and try to sell that asset to someone else, or pass it off to somebody else that can then maintain it full time and turn it into something more. But kind of divest of it as soon as you kind of get the benefit of it.
Yeah,
So
like give it to a business that builds and maintains software products, maybe.
yeah, that too. Or there's always like like kind of entrepreneurial types that like will want to buy that off of you and try to make something of it.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, I'm curious with your experience. Like, I know it's cliche, but it's the end of 2024. You're doing a lot of annual planning, which is, it's probably the first time in a year that a lot of these companies are thinking another year down the line, or maybe reevaluating what their predictions were for the industry over the next 3 years. What are your conspiracy theories? What's dead? What's coming? What's the new hotness?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that I see more and more as an advantage for us is, our agencies are small. A lot of them are kind of like low head count, right? Like, under, let's say, some are definitely under 50, some are under like, 20, and a few are like under 10 people, right?
Under 20 majority, I'd say. Yeah, there's a big majority between 10 and 20, and I have some theories about that, but we'll talk about that another time.
But then like the way we're thinking about it is like, hey, just going into next year and beyond. And this is cliche, like with some of the proliferation of AI tools and just way that the these engagements are kind of nimble and a bit just faster in some cases. Like some of our agencies, I'm like, we don't need to expand headcount too much, and if anything, you can get a lot of leverage with like the right hire instead of trying to hire with too many just instead of trying to grow through headcount. So that's something that
Yeah,
it's really
there's someone on LinkedIn that I think his byline is grow without headcount, or that's a big part of his positioning, and that always sticks out to me. I always see that, and I'm like, I really agree with you. I think I've interviewed him before, but I forget the exact name. But those things stand out. I've always really appreciated that. And David Baker talks about that. He talks about keeping your capacity below demand. And
yeah.
typically, what agencies will do is they'll get a few wins and they'll go, oh, let's hire three people because we're definitely going to keep winning accounts. It's, middle of 2023, people were saying that, and now they're really stuck. So I like that as a motto. Keep your capacity below demand, and you'll always be in a position to only take on the best clients, to raise your prices, to say no when it's appropriate, to fire toxic clients.
Yeah.
And I think that's what gets you through that threshold if you do want to grow past 10 or 20.
Yeah.
How about, oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, no. Just the other thing was like, I think it's kind of interesting, like with the proliferation of like smaller shops around us too, you can outsource a lot of different aspects of the business as well. So one of the things I'm thinking about is like instead of trying to bring in house kind of the demand gen, like lead gen type of work, like like say outbound, running outbound campaigns, or even doing some marketing for your own agency. Being smart with that, and you can keep headcount low by outsourcing that kind of work. So just always being cognizant of like I always love to use another beer analogy. How I think Jeff Bezos had a whole story about like you shouldn't do things that don't make your beer taste good. So basically, he's telling a story about like a these old brewers. I forget, it was in Germany or Belgium or something, but like they used to
Bavaria. Yeah.
Bavaria, yeah, probably in the Bavaria region. But like they used to, because like back in the day, they had to generate power to run their breweries, and so they would build all these like power. powerful water mills and stuff, and put a lot of capex into doing that. But like at the end of the day, it didn't make the beer taste better. It just kind of had the beer run. So like the moment, you know, like the grid was connected and then power plants came online, and like you didn't have to invest all that into the power. You could just kind of tap into it and still focus all your energies on making the beer taste better. And this was all to talk about AWS and how that would allow all these startups to kind of focus on making their beer taste better. And so that story has always stuck with me because it's like with agencies, we sometimes get enamored with, oh yeah, we gotta like build out our own kind of like project management tool to like proprietary tool to manage it better, or we have to, and maybe that does make the beer taste better, I don't know, but like you got to be really strategic with that. And even stuff like, yeah, like the social posts you put out, LinkedIn, or the newsletters that you might make for the marketing side, like, hey, like doesn't necessarily make your beer taste better. Like, and in our case, that's serving clients, creating value for clients, all the stuff that you love to talk about. So yeah, and I think that that's where
That
I think
yeah,
the
I
effort should
do
be.
think that's the positive side of AI. I mean, all the things that are have been, they've sort of survived these commodity deliverables like content and things like just like churn it out content, like blogs, for example. And I think that the everyone's just been just caught on this grind, and they've forgotten about like going and researching your ideal clients, educating and upskilling your people, human to human connection, empathy, like the things that make marketing work and are the reason that marketing exists even before the internet. Like we're going back to old school human to human because everything else has just become table stakes. It's become, yeah, everyone's not only got a project management system, everyone's got the AI to create their own project management system in a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now it's like double commodity. I can rebuild the product, but I can also rebuild the product that builds the product.
But
So
that's
like
me.
you're
A lot of people
screwed.
can go down the rabbit hole of like, getting enamored with that activity versus the human to human, the work
Yeah,
of.
and then the client's sitting there like, yeah, I need sales, and you're like, oh, you got your mad scientists in the back still working on their internal project management system. And you're like, no, I just please stop it. Where is the value? And they're like, oh no, I got the automation. Just wait.
Yeah. No.
You could tell where my heart lies.
Yeah. And look, this is why, it's, yeah, I appreciate your kind of what you're preaching because like, one of the, so across all our holding companies, we do share like what we call our Barrel Holdings, like agency fundamentals. And, the first pillar is literally, create value for our clients. And so that's kind of the thing that we harp on a lot because, yeah, without that, everything kind of falls apart.
Now that we're talking about pillars, I got a pillar for you. This could be your second pillar. Talk to your clients.
Yeah. That's a sub pillar under the value creation one, but
Yeah,
yeah,
like
it is.
talk
It's
to them.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's really the big. I mean, everybody's going to have create value for clients on their on their pillars, but or we got to know their clients. But it's shocking. I asked that question, like, how often do you talk to your clients? Not the client point of contact, maybe the people selling for the agency, the
Mm.
the people in charge of getting the message out, attracting new ideal clients. When do they talk to the existing clients? When do the principals talk to the existing clients? They have all the information. You don't need to lock yourself in a dark room and try and figure out why they hired you. You just go, hey, you're about to cut us another check for 15 grand this month. Why are you paying us? There's your answer. There's your market research. And it's not happening. People aren't talking to their customers.
Yeah, I feel you. I was
It's
guilty of
quite,
that too,
it's
so
quite shocking. That's the app.
yeah,
You know what? If I created a new app for agencies, it'd be called the telephone.
yeah.
And it's an app where you can dial up your client and speak to them.
Oh man,
You want to go in on that? Do you want a seventh company? We'll split it.
no, it's an agency that like somebody like other agencies pay so that they get reminded through an email. Hey, talk to your clients today. These are the ones you should be
Yeah.
talking to.
Yeah, like little like a little box on the desk, like the easy
Yeah.
button, only it's the agency button, and you just touch it and it's like, call your client today.
Yeah.
You know, don't send that automated email. Reach out to someone new. I
Yeah.
love it. That's brilliant. That could, if you don't
There
do
you
it,
go.
I'm going to do it. Little agency button.
Well, well, you could have that as your kind of holiday tchotchke that you give out to everyone. Branded.
Click, yes, they're going to churn.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I've really enjoyed the conversation. Let's do it again. I mean, we're doing a little short one here. Love that. Thanks for your time. Yeah, I enjoy rapping about this stuff with you. 6 agencies. You think one is fun? Try 6. I've got 2 kids, and I'm just trying to imagine like the jump from 2 to 6. That's like you got to be a career parent to add value to 6 agencies at once. So golf clap for you, Peter Kang. For those of you listening to Beers with Max, don't operate any heavy machinery. Have fun this weekend. Happy holidays.
All right.